How many of you are aware that when a master talks, he emits a healing and an evolutionary energy? How many are aware of that? Raise your hands. Okay, put your hands down. Now when I'm speaking, how many can feel the pranic impact, the transmission? Raise your hands. So that means, how many believe that even if I say, oh, la-di-da, da-da-do, dee-dee-dum, do-di-do, da-di-da, that still will have the transmission? Raise your hands. So in actuality, the teacher, you will be the people teaching. I will be the one talking nonsense and transforming. You can only teach, you cannot transform. I will talk nonsense. That's my prerogative, to talk nonsense. Nonsense is the sixth sense, beyond the five senses. The sixth sense is nonsense. It makes no sense to the physical five senses, but it's beyond the normal, logical, digital brain. So it's nonsense. Okay? So you don't have to grasp what I'm talking about. You have to grasp the transmission and how it's bringing a change. How this madman is slowly making you into a madman. It was just like this person in the prison. They said, come on, now you're perfectly cured. You're out of the lunatic asylum. He said, no, let me be here. Don't tell anyone that I'm okay. There's a bigger lunatic asylum outside these prison walls. I don't want to go there. That's why the yogi who's a recluse in his cave, who's in the Himalayas, why do we come to this little space? So that we can rest and relax, dissolve all our stress, vent out all our fear and anxiety, but in a proper channelized way. It's good to vent out, you can do it anyway. You can do it anyhow. But you have to move on. Time is fleeting, and you can only move on by practicing Kriya Yoga sincerely, and on the other side, giving what you have learned, sharing and caring with humanity. Because they are a part of your larger self, as we have just said. You cannot do without them. You cannot selfishly say, oh, I'll slip ahead and I'll give that fellow the slip and go ahead. This is not business, where you can do your Machiavellian tricks and send your headhunters and kidnap vice presidents from one company and put it in another company. This is not that game. The more you give, the more you get. Simplicity is the name of the game. And all your people have a shield, and you're very, uptight, because you feel that if you're open and hearted to the world shall eat you up. But that will not happen if you are proper. If you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. This is important.
You said that death is certain. Why do we so much fear about death, and what happens after death?
No, we love death. But the question is this, that death is fleeting. Time waits for no man. So let's make the most. Let's realize God in this life. Otherwise, when you die, you go through the whole process of limbo, the bardo tol. The bardo tol. You know the bardo, which we call in our this thing, Devachan. We go through the whole process of Devachan, Devasthan. You go through the astral sphere, the Burlok, Swahalok, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, Satyalok. You go through all these lokas, then you go to Patal, Rasatal, Talatal, all the various hells for all the bad you've done, and all the various heavens for the good you've done. So before this whole rigmarole starts, then you take birth in a human body and come again, where you can start your Kriya Yoga again. So instead of going around all the way like this, death is certain, time is fleeting. So let's catch it. Let's catch the train. Let's get our passport to paradise done in this life, stamped and clear by the stamp of Omkar Samadhi. Samadhi is the stamp. Meditation is the stamp. So it's question of time We don't want to waste time. We'd like to meet our beloved Lord in this light, in this life. Therefore, with that urgency, we are saying, because time is fleeting, let not precious moments slip by. Seek now the ultimate truth. O soul swan, spread your wings to fly, immortal realms which death defy.
Is the swan flying back to the future or this way when he flies first?
You see, I have shown you that in the human brain, when you have the coronal cross sections of the brain, they are the lateral ventricles in the brain, in the shape of a swan in flight, with its wings thrust to the forehead and its head pointing back, as though flying back to the future faster than light. Makes a lot of sense. Because when you transcend the sound barrier, you go into a certain state of samadhi. When you transcend the light barrier, you go into a state of nirvikalpa samadhi, which is everywhere and nowhere at the same time, which is faster than light, back to the future. I have saved you the trouble of taking constant notes you can, because this is all, a lot of this is given in my book, Wings to Freedom. I hope you've kept 2 copies for me, because I don't listen.
Yes.
And is there any information in it how we can get more copies? Suppose we want to order from India, some people, what do? They order on Amazon.com?
They could.
But they will get confused because the picture there is different and the picture on this, your new book is different.
It'll be changed.
Who has done this?
The stupid publisher.
Publisher has done it.
They don't know anything.
Okay, now before I begin, the Kriya Yoga is the science of the evolution of human consciousness. There is no other important thing for you to do in this world than evolve your soul consciousness. Nothing is more important. Analyze it. Is your Ferrari more important, or is evolution of soul consciousness more important? Is your husband more important, or the evolution of your soul consciousness more important? Is $1 million more important, or is the evolution of soul consciousness? So if you analyze it one by one, all these material things will fall away in front of God. Then if that is the case, you have logically convinced yourself, then get on the job and practice Kriya Yoga like we are going to practice now. So I'm giving you the empowerment of the sacred science of selfing into the self. When I'm giving the healing